Oh, so nice. Now that we don't have a guest, I don't feel like I'm the last one whose levels you're doing.
Well, you still are, but
I still am, but feels a little bit better.
he's just going in alphabetical order. Just think of it like that.
Can you just ask someone else to do their levels really quick too? Like, hey, Jamie, can you give me the sentence really quick?
Joe Rogan, could you give me your levels?
I'll
Okay. Cool, man.
Yeah, man. Well, monkeys
up about the
a whole
DMT.
society of their own, man. And yo, have you seen the video of Joe Rogan talking about the Jaguar on DMT?
Oh.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, can you give us your levels really quick? We're starting the podcast.
Such a piece of shit.
Wait. Let him face, I swear to God.
Can you give us levels really quick, Jamie, please? We're doing the Rob needs you to give levels.
Please, Jamie.
I'm literally pulling up to McDonald's.
Okay, that's good enough. That's
Sounds
good enough.
good,
All right,
yeah.
I'll talk
Sounds
to you
good.
later. Thank you. Hope that's some good McDonald's. I haven't had McDonald's in a while. I kind of miss
I had
it.
McDonald's tonight.
This is a deli sandwich.
No, Jamie was
No,
getting
it's
McDonald's.
Oh, she's
She
getting McDonald's.
was,
okay.
yeah.
No, it's not.
I keep forgetting that my mic doesn't pick up my phone
At all.
well.
At all.
All right, I'm rolling and good to go.
I'm good to go as well.
Whenever.
Good.
Okay. Front and
I like
center.
this new angle you got going on, Jake. Second week in a row.
I figured it's you can see my mic, my shit snowball mic. You can see
You say shit
my water.
snowball mic, but like I think your mic quality is the best out of the three of us.
Me too.
Impossible. Impossible. I have a Samsung G13.
Why does yours
$400
sound like such
professional.
shit?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
well,
honestly, I've thought about it. I think like your input is too loud, and you're
I think
like
your
speaking
input
when
is
you
too
speak.
loud.
Oh,
So welcome to the
like
Buttery
that.
Mills podcast, where we argue about whose levels and microphones are superior. I'm one of your hosts, Jacob Boyer. Seated next to me is one of my, my only co-host, Jacob Demansky. How are you doing?
hey, I'm doing well, and with us, as always, pretty much, from day one. But he's not a host anymore, I guess. I think he's a host. He says he's not. Our permanent guest, Rob Morrissey. How are you doing, Rob?
The liberal
Hey,
media,
what's up, everybody?
the liberal media
92
would want you to believe that
Yeah.
he's that he's like
Yeah.
a
The
host.
Communist News Network wants you to think I'm a host, but that's just fake news, folks. And yeah, week 92 weeks going strong as a guest on the podcast. This might be a record, actually. We should talk to Guinness about getting a plug in their book. Oh yeah, because honestly, I think if we got in the Guinness Book of World Records, we'd probably get less listeners somehow, even though more people would know about us ostensibly.
Yeah, we'd be like the Pod Save America guys, basically. At
Exactly.
That
Who are they?
Oh, we would be super rich
John
because
Favreau?
we.
Oh,
Isn't that John Favreau's podcast?
Pod
Yeah,
Save
the
America.
guy who
Trillin.
the Obama staffer who like made a shitload of money knowing that Obamacare would like cause a influx in medical insurance loans or some shit, and so he built a company based around medical insurance loans.
Aren't those? Is those the guys that started the GoFundMe shit as well?
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
Making
so stupid.
Yeah, making a literal mint off of people's pain and suffering. It was genius.
So fucked up. Like
The economy
you can't get aid from like the government, so you have to beg your fucking friends and family and people you don't know over the internet, and that's
Just what-
fine. Like they encourage that.
Yeah.
Like
Just like the 1500s. We're going back, baby. Tea Party.
As Jake cheers. He's like, "Yo, cheers, I'll drink to that."
under Mike Smith, state representative of Delaware, gets irony or anything like that.
I hope not.
We should reach out to him and ask him what his favorite episode is.
I would love to get State Representative Mike Smith on the podcast.
And
honestly.
he's like, "Oh yeah, deep SpongeBob headcanon. You guys peaked." I'm like,
if Representative Mike Smith was like our most hardcore listener, like a day one listener, and we didn't even know it, it would make me so happy.
he was the first person who listened to the podcast that wasn't us.
He's like the only listener
fan.
He's the only listener who every week is like, I am sending it to friends and family. Like I am. I am telling people. I rate you guys 5 stars every week. I make a new Spotify account every week just to rate you guys.
Vote for him then, I guess. But
what are we drinking tonight, boys? What kind of drinks do we have?
I got some tangerine water.
Okay.
But I'm not drinking it because I famously don't drink on the podcast.
It's a prop.
It's only there to offer me it's a reward for finishing. It's
right.
It's like those people who dangle fast food in front of you at the treadmill in cartoons.
I have regular water.
Am I the only one with an alcohol problem right now?
I don't drink it.
And the problem is that I don't have enough alcohol.
I find it. I got into a weird phase about 6 months ago where I got super into like making mixed drinks and cocktails and all that. So I bought a shit ton of alcohol to like just experiment and like see what kind of cocktails I like, and just have it be a cool thing at parties, being like, oh, you want a bee's knees? I can whip that up for you really quick, and make it in like 2 seconds. But then, like around
kill these bees. Really
let me kill all these bees. But, like around that same time is when I started to get super self-conscious about my weight, and I'm going back to the gym. So then I just kind of, not through a conscious choice, but I just kind of stopped drinking alcohol because I was like, I'd rather eat my calories, not drink them. So I have this like whole shelf full of alcohol just sitting in the other room, aging up.
Let me stop by and
I'll hook you guys up.
I can handle that for you. That problem.
I had a party a while ago. This this pissed me off though, because it was a bunch of my high school friends and a few college friends over, and one of my I won't name names because I think he listens and I don't want to make him feel like a piece
State
of
Representative Mike
State
Smith.
Representative Mike Smith. But one of my friends was like, hey, is it cool if I invite 1 or 2 other people over? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, because it wasn't it was like maybe like 10 people tops. And so he invited these 2 other people over, and one of them was cool, but the other one had like no social skills whatsoever. Like I think he had also been drinking previously, and this was only at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, so that's not a great sign. But he it was also kind of my fault, where I was like, yeah, anything you guys want, just kind of help yourself. Just don't touch like these 1 or 2 specific bottles. It was one of them was a bottle of whiskey that you can't get in Pennsylvania. My girlfriend had to travel to get it, and I wanted to make that last. And then the other one was an expensive adrenochrome. The other one was an expensive cognac that I've just been saving. I no reason why. I was holding on to it, and this motherfucker goes right over to the shelf almost immediately after. I'm like, help yourself to whatever, just don't get the cognac or the Brothers Bond whiskey, whatever. And he goes straight for the cognac and opens it up and pours like 3 fingers worth in a glass and starts chugging it. Oof. And then the other guy was like,
chugging it.
Yeah, he like downed it almost. And
no. And insult to injury there.
Yeah, and then the other guy who my friend brought was like, dude, he just said don't drink the cognac, and the other guy was like, oh, sorry. And like, there was other stuff that happened that night, but that was the most egregious. I was like fuming a little bit. I literally like 5 seconds after I was like, yeah, just don't touch the cognac, he like opened it up and poured it. Like in less than 10 seconds he had downed 3 fingers of cognac. It made me so mad.
Like, if you're gonna chug like alcohol, chug the shit to your stuff, because that's for like tasting. And
Yeah.
Appreciating, you fuck.
Exactly.
He's like chasing this expensive cognac with like fruit punch.
the thing that
This
made me
tastes
happy
like
though, I
This
found
stuff is
out
nasty, man.
he had let slip later in the night that he was also moving out of state, so I was like, good. You're not gonna be.
Yeah,
I didn't
go
say
to a state
yeah.
where you
I
go
didn't.
to a state where you also can't buy this whiskey.
Yeah, I didn't say it, but my immediate thought was good. I don't want you. I don't want to. I needed an excuse to not have him over anymore.
Jacob, you said good. Do you know what the opposite of good is?
Yeah, the opposite of Jesus Christ.
The opposite of good is great.
Opposite of good is great, Jake. I don't know what you're talking.
Yeah.
What, trying to set
I don't
me
know
up
what I was
for
trying
a
to do there,
transition here.
actually.
No, we're
This occurred to
doing
me.
we're doing a from bad to worse tonight as our topic, ladies and gentlemen. A proper from bad to worse, and not a good buddy of mine has read a awful book, and I'm gonna rant about it for an hour and a half while Jake and Rob suffer.
Bad is the opposite of good.
Bad, yeah, bad is the opposite of good.
Just wanted to point that out.
And worse is the, I guess, polar opposite of good. So this is just a bad segment all around.
It's the Polar Express of opposite world.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna kind of tell a story that progressively gets worse as it goes along.
By the way, thank you guys for having me. I'm glad to be here, and I didn't get to say that when you introduced me as your guest. And also, I'm drinking like a quarter bottle of scotch mixed with hard cider. So,
what kind of scotch? Is it a good one?
it's fucking. Hold on, I always forget the name.
Is it the one from The Thing? Because I remember you went out and bought a lot. I think you bought a lot of that after.
Jameson or Doers?
So
J&B.
I was drinking J&B for a while, and it's so
yeah.
funny because I'm one of those guys who just like I will see alcohol in a movie, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna start drinking.
Yeah.
Like, that it happened with The Thing, and then Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Leo's character drinks whiskey sours, so I drank whiskey sours for like a whole year.
I love that.
But this is Lefroy.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a good
yeah.
one.
Froig is like my favorite scotch.
I've had it for a while, and I just kind of started polishing it off this past week. So yeah, I just ended up
so good.
Oh, dude, it's great, and so I just kind of threw the rest of it in with my Angry Orchard hard cider. Yeah,
To like
get
down
me
quicker or
fucked
something.
up.
Okay, yeah.
To make me feel better about my life.
Another reason I feel bad about that whole like coinciding the whole not drinking and buying a lot of alcohol coinciding is that my girlfriend bought me like a smoke gun around that time with like the plastic dome, so you can like smoke a couple glasses of whiskey.
Oh,
I was super pumped to try that, but today I was like, you know what, let's bust that out this weekend. It's been a year that I just have not been using this expensive thing that you got me, and I feel bad. So let's.
How does it work in that way? Like,
it's
what are you burning?
It like little wood chips. Like think of like a hot glue gun with like some rubber, like a foot of rubber tubing hooked onto the gun, like this part of it, and you put a few pinches of wood pellets in the top. You hold a lighter to that, and then you like close a little like valve at the end of the hose, so the smoke
that lights
builds
the
up
glue
in the tube. That lights the glue on fire. So the smoke builds up in the tube, and then actually, I have it right here. You hook the tube up to this little hole in the dome, and then you release the valve, and all the smoke comes into the dome and infuses the whiskey.
You just have that right next to your desk.
Yeah.
I don't really have another spot to put it.
He's like, I stopped drinking, so I've just started smoking everything in my life. Like, but before I answer phone calls, I smoke my phone really quick.
I've
It's gonna be a Midsommar thing
sometimes
eventually on the podcast.
Sometimes
Jacob's
when
gonna, like,
yeah.
sorry.
Sometimes when we'll go to record and I'll turn my webcam on. I'll be like paralyzed in a bear suit with like my room burning around me. Just like wide-eyed at you guys. Oh, but yeah, again, speaking of things that went from bad to worse, our segment for tonight is we're gonna talk about a story that starts okay, not great, and just gets worse as it goes along. I think this one is pretty short, but I always say that, and then it ends up being one of the longer episodes. So let's see how it goes. We're gonna rewind the clocks to the year 1960 in Utah. Are you guys familiar?
I've heard of Utah, yes.
You've
Me
heard
too.
of Utah. Are you familiar with the Nutty Putty caves in Utah?
No.
Nutty Professor Caves? No.
So the Nutty, I'm reading off the Wikipedia. The Nutty Putty Cave is a hydrothermal cave located west of Utah Lake in Utah County. It's called Nutty Putty because the soil is predominantly clay, so it has like a stretchy brown kind of consistency, like it's really pliable and mushy and whatnot.
Okay.
It was discovered by a guy named Dale Green in 1960. He was like an avid caver, so he explored it, charted out like maps and made routes and all that. And it has just kind of became like a recreational, like, hey, cavers, if you want a fun way to kill, if you it became like a recreational thing, like, hey, cavers, if you want to kill 12 hours of your day, come on down and go in this way, come out this way, and just fun way for outdoorsy people to spend an afternoon.
I am fascinated by shit like that, though. Like the cave divers who really like
Yeah,
about all the cave systems. It's fucking awesome.
you wouldn't catch me, dude. Like caves are scary.
Oh no.
Well,
Like,
I get stuck. Like I
Hey,
watch
get
those
stuck.
videos of
Yep.
people slithering through these like very very slim crevasses, and I'm like, oh yeah, you'd never see me again. I'd try it one time, and I'd be gone.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's
Sure you would, Rob.
it. So again, reading right off the wiki.
Jacob would be fine.
No, I would not be fine. The name is the name is believed to relate to the soft brown putty-like texture of the clay found by Green in many of the tunnels. It contains 1,400 feet of chutes and tunnels, and prior to closure, it had been accessible via a narrow surface hole. So this cave is not open to the public anymore. You can't go explore it. It's been
Right.
closed for a while. Because again, like it's malleable terrain, so it wasn't gonna last forever.
You press a newspaper against it, and it retains the writing
The
on the
form,
newspaper.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, is a scary concept that the cave is like extra like moving.
Malleable. Well, it's
Yeah.
not like you could like push your hand into it and make like a deep handprint, but like it's not
Oh, I didn't
solid
think
rock.
that.
Like
And it's like it feels like there's more of a chance of like
bad
Collapse.
things happening.
yeah, collapse or something.
So this cave had like I said, it was it was casual. It was like a fun thing for like avid outdoorsy people to do.
Yeah.
But there had been instances in the past, like especially for whatever reason with Boy Scouts, Boy Scout troops would go exploring in this cave, and then there would have to be rescues because some of the Boy Scouts would get stuck, and these were always successful. Like they were always able to get the kids out because a lot of it is kind of
What's this cave's kill death ratio?
we'll get to that.
Oh,
It's I'm gonna try and for the YouTube people, I'll throw this picture up on screen. So if you're listening on Spotify, you might want to switch over to YouTube. But I'll throw like a cross
Let
section
them
of
both
this.
play at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
And play it on Apple Podcasts as well.
Make a playlist on YouTube that repeats it while you're at work over and over again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw an image of this cave into well, not like a map, not like a actual like photos from inside of it. I'll throw an image
Each photo of like the cave entrance, it just looks like the open mouth of a massive demon or something.
Just with
Yeah,
teeth,
that doesn't look
with
right.
teeth and everything. Not even like stalactites that are meant to look
Just
like teeth.
teeth.
Just teeth. So yeah, if you go over to the
It's like opening and closing, and like smoke is pouring out of it.
God damn it, it didn't work. All right, so let me try this again. The picture
That
did not
didn't
download.
work.
Caves are scary, man. Caves are fucking
scary.
horrifying.
So
Bad.
I just threw it in the forum. This is kind of a map of what this cave looks like. There is like, so you
This is a picture of a penis.
the picture of a penis.
It's like a gun.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Kinda
put it
does
past
look
it.
like a gun.
But this is mostly like
It's obviously a penis.
this is mostly straight down. So it's hard. It's hard to. But like if you look where it kind of L's and then goes down again, that's like just you're climbing like straight down into an exit. So I think the other part is more of like diagonal. I'm trying to describe this for you guys in a way that makes sense, and this is going to be even worse for the Spotify listeners. But imagine you laid this.
It's a cave. It's a cave. It's a scary cave.
Imagine we're looking at this from above, okay? And then the last little leg of it that points straight down does go straight down into the ground. The map is not well done, is my point, but that is important for later. So again, yeah, there's had to be rescues in this cave in the past, mostly with Boy Scouts. I don't know why. But
They're idiots.
Yeah,
they're fucking babies.
There are, but at the same time, though, I feel like it's not the
reason they're not called
the guy who owns this the guy who owned this cave and like named a lot of the things that that are in this cave. Like I think he kind of set them up to like get trapped and fuck themselves over, because there's parts of this cave that are like, this one's for instance is named the Big Slide, which is just a downward slope of rocks that you could theoretically slide down. Like
this one's called the Bear Trap. It's full of bear traps all over the place.
But so in 2009, there's this group
bear traps hanging from the ceiling like Halloween spiders.
Those are the teeth. It's just the rows of bear traps hanging from the ceiling. Those are natural
totally natural forming bear traps.
Saw contraption from Saw 3. Stalactite.
So yeah.
Do you want to play a game? No, I just kind of want to navigate this cave and then go home.
See, again, in
Boy Scout, and I'm not letting you out of here.
Again, in between 1999, which that's kind of surprising, is that between 99 and 2004 is when all these rescues of like different Boy Scouts have to take place. There was no incidents between its founding in the 60s and then all of these starting in 1999. But so that's the Nutty Putty Cave. That's where our story takes place. That's our introduction. We're going to fast forward to November 24th, 2009, okay? Our protagonist is a 26-year-old man named John Edward Jones. I don't try to do this, but I do find it funny that like every single character in Are From Bad to Worse always has 3 first names.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I don't try and do that. But
that's the Ricky Bobby effect.
Yeah.
His last name isn't Jones?
No, John Edward Jones is his.
He has 2 first names.
He has 3 first names. John Edward Jones.
Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah, you're right. That is weird.
So he's exploring the cave with his brother. Okay, he's in Utah with his family and his girlfriend, his pregnant girlfriend, I'm gonna add. So he's like, I got everything going for him. He's got a family on the way. He's like celebrating Thanksgiving holidays with his family. He and his brother are his whole family is really outdoorsy, but he and his brother are like, let's go have a day trip and explore this cave, and then we'll
We'll make it
we'll kill
back.
2 hours.
Totally
Yeah,
safe and
we'll kill
sound.
12 hours.
You've never been in a cave before. Let's go try out the cave.
They were avid cavers though. So they're going through. I want to say the brother's name was Jake. Funny enough, because I
Jacob,
do.
That's our name.
I know. No, it was Josh. Josh changes everything.
That's our
Sorry.
names.
We're gonna get stuck in the cave, Jacob.
No, it's
Yeah.
this happened to us. You're telling me.
We should record a podcast in a cave sometime.
And just not even
Cave.
try to like dampen off the sound at all. It's just constant echoes reverberating back into the mic.
Wendigo screams.
We'll go to Lost River Caverns, so it's especially like just constant water dripping and like
So
rushing
there's
waterfalls.
4 groups in the record.
Yes. Actually, that'd be great.
So
Doing that.
John and Josh are going through this cave. John's the one thing I should say is that, again, if you guys refer back to the map, I want you to focus specifically. So the big slide is the horizontal part that goes through the middle of the frame. We're focusing on what comes immediately after the big slide, kind of where that red circle is. So
It's called the Dragon Pit.
the dragon pit.
Dragon Pit
Corpse
of Goblins.
pile.
Yeah.
So John and again, John's going first, and Josh is behind his brother. They've gone down the big slide. And they are traversing again. This is pretty much straight down, and these are after the big slide. These caves get like very, very narrow, like not like what we were talking about, like the kind of shit where it's like, why would anyone want to do that? Like where you have to like army
that.
crawl and like squish your way through the cave.
Man, I wouldn't make it.
Yeah, same. Fuck that.
I would. My story wouldn't be called 127 hours. It'd be 127 pounds too heavy to navigate this cave.
Yeah. So the thing is that so John is they've negotiated down the big slide, and now they're going straight down. Their route that they're trying to do is where it's if you, again, referring to the map, the next immediate path is what's called the birth canal, and that's because it's called that because it's an incredibly tight
and wet.
very tight and wet because clay. But like if you imagine like if you took like a tunnel the width of like a front-loading washing machine and you just stretched that out a couple 100 feet, that's what the birth canal is.
Jesus.
It's
yeah.
like
Whoa.
it's very, very narrow.
Definitely too heavy for that game.
And but they know that at the end of this, like, there's a way that they can turn around and
How
come
roller
back out.
coasters have you must be this
Yeah.
this tall to ride. You must be this thin to
Yeah, it's-
navigate this cave.
So it's
We'll
it's a very tight fit, but there is a way at the end of it where you can sort of maneuver around and then go back out. Or I don't think it's on the map that I sent. I think there is also a separate exit that happens after the birth canal. You go into something called the aorta crawl, which I'm guessing is an even more narrow stretch of cave. I don't even know how a fit person would even fit through that.
You said it's a very tight fit butt. I thought you were gonna say
Tight
it's a
fit
very
butt.
tight fit
Very
butt.
It's a
There's
very tight.
reward at
Yeah,
the end.
John's got a tight fit ass. If you know what I'm saying.
I didn't think that. I thought you meant like it's a tight fit, but there's a
But there's
it's
a good
rewarding
reward.
when you
There's
get through.
there's a nice. Your pregnant wife will be waiting for you at the very.
Honey, what are you doing down here? That is some scary shit, actually.
Yeah, if you just found all of your loved ones waiting for you at the end of a cave, and you and like,
Hey, what's up, dude? We're all stuck here.
Yeah.
Good for you
no,
to come down.
I'll do you one better. That like imagine if they're all at the entrance of this cave, being like, "Okay, guys, have a good time," and then they go into the cave, and then somehow they're already waiting for them down there. Like, there's no way that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. like,
Have you ever seen
That's
As Above, So
horrifying.
Below?
Yeah,
It's-
that's what I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Yeah, that type of vibe. That's not even a great horror movie, but it has some creepy shit in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that exact vibe.
So they again, John's going first. He's shimmying down the birth canal, and he starts to think, oh, like this is getting tight, like tighter than it should be. This is like I'm getting a little bit worried about this, but he's like, okay, well, whatever. Like, I knew that this was going to be a particularly tight part of the cave. Like, I just have to get through this. It's not like I can still fit. I'm okay. So he keeps going down. His brother's a couple, like 50, 60 feet behind him, doing the same thing.
Too much distance. Jesus.
That's fucking pretty far.
Yeah.
Eventually, though, like this keeps happening. John's like, this is just like this keeps getting tighter. This is like I'm actually, he's starting to get worried at this point. It eventually gets to the point where like he's barely like he's making like an inch every few minutes because it's such a tight fit. And he eventually decides he's like, oh, okay, you know what? Fuck this. I'm like, we're not gonna go down to the other exit. We should turn around and go back out. Problem is that it's so tight that he can't turn around now.
Oh, fuck.
And the reason for that is, again, if you refer back to the map, the birth canal is that like really narrow stretch to the left of the red circle that sort of forks down into some other shit.
Okay.
That's the birth canal. The red circle is about where John was. He was not in the birth canal. He was in an unmapped part of the cave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was happening. Is like he went the wrong way or something.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh my Jesus.
So he was in a part of the cave that had not been mapped out because it was too tight for people to physically fit into it. Now he is now stuck upside down, like pinned, but like to the point where like he's like he can't push himself. He doesn't have anything to push himself off of to like shimmy back up, and it's so tight that like his ribs are he's like pinned in between the wall of the cave, like between his ribs and his back. There's like barely a couple centimeters of space to negotiate. If he breathes in and out too much, he'll slide down more. That's the kind of shit that he's in right now.
Christ.
So he has to take very shallow breaths while
That is
hanging upside down, stuck in these caves. So he yells back up to his tries to his best again. He's like, dude, like we fucked up. We're in the wrong part of the cave. Turn around. I'm stuck. You need to go get help. And thankfully, Josh, like he hears all that. He was starting to get stuck too, but he was in a good enough spot where he was able to like turn himself around, go back up. He notifies the authorities, and a rescue effort gets mounted to pull John out. But again, this is like a long.
This is so scary. Holy shit!
But again, like this is a long like. A long spelunking trip. It's going to take a while for rescuers to get to him.
They gotta find a guy small and thin enough to actually crawl to this guy
and rescue him. Yeah.
Named
So
Splunky. Small guy.
I'm a little guy.
I'm a little guy.
What is that, Portlandia?
I'm here to rescue. I'm a little guy.
There's like one really small man in that town who's like, I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. I knew one day my size and stature would finally beat the big guys.
Will you help us? No.
No.
Too small.
I am
too
God.
long.
I decide this man's fate.
Reading off the Wikipedia, he became stuck upside down in an area measuring 10 by 18 inches, around 400 feet from the cave's entrance.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Too small.
10 by 18, too small. He was held in place again by the fact that it's like narrowing as it goes down. So he's like the cave is pinning him in place. Josh manages to climb back out. He gets help, but again, because it takes a while for anyone to get down to him, it's like easily 4 or 5 hours before the first rescuer is like even close to him in the tunnel to try and assess the situation. It's midnight at this point, and then they're trying to rescue him. Again, like it was obviously pitch black down in there, but now it's pitch black up on the surface, and like trying to like figure out, okay, well, like what do we need to do? How can we get him out? They were only really able to get like one person even remotely close to him to try and do anything at any point. But we'll take a break to making like I already said that he has to take shallow breaths because if he compresses his rib cage too much, he's going to slide down more. but also think about the fact that like when you do a headstand, all the blood rushes to your head.
Right.
You
yeah.
feel the weight of your whole body like pushing, like gravity is pushing your whole body
shit.
down on you.
Yeah, this is so fucked up.
He like all of his like the organs below his diaphragm are now resting on his lungs, so even these short, shallow breaths are hard. I forget where I heard the statistic, but when I was researching the story, it was like after a certain amount of time with all the blood pooling up in your head, you can go blind from the amount of blood that's like pooling up in your eyes. So, and they say
he
that
wouldn't even be able to fucking tell for a while yet.
Exactly. So
is it dark in here, or am I just going blind?
Am I just fucking blind? So they think, okay, well, if we can kind of like they're like rigging, there's obviously like hooks and carabiners and whatnot in this cave for people that want to explore, so they're trying to rig like a sort of a human like pulley system where they think if they can get like one person close enough, they can grab him by the feet and sort of like pull him out and give him enough slack to where he can rotate himself. But but again, like they can only even get one person even remotely close to him at any given time because of how tight this cave is.
Famously large people in this town. They gotta fly a small guy in from another town.
Got a McDonald's on every block this town.
John was held in place like a hook, unable to move without causing serious harm due to the bends his body was placed in. A large team of rescuers came to his assistance, but were unable to retrieve him using a sophisticated rope and pulley system after the pulleys were like, again, it's clay soil, so it's hard to get anything to like stay that hasn't been like cemented into place. So they're having to like repair their own like hundreds of feet long pulley system constantly to even like make it
like
safe
a
to
Rube
pull this guy out.
Goldberg machine.
Yeah, a really bad Rube Goldberg machine. So I'm trying to find his family is obviously there again. Very pregnant girlfriend is there, hoping that her
he's
her
at the bottom
boyfriend
of the cave waiting for them.
She's cheering him on. Like they while again to mostly aid in the rescue efforts, but to like keep him like kind of sane. The one person who is closest to him, they are able to rig like a walkie-talkie down so he can communicate with the surface, and like doctors, well, his family can like know that he's okay, but also like ambulance, like first responder
he's
people.
Not okay. Like he's
not okay. But like obviously, so like first medical responders up on the surface can assess like, okay, what like his mental state, what's wrong, what will we have to treat first when we get him out, shit like that. So they lower a radio down to him so that way he's like able to like talk, say what's going on, and also keep him sane and keep him from panicking too badly. He's been by the time that they have this pulley system.
Josh, you're not okay, but
John,
we're here to watch you die. It's
John,
all right.
John, you're not okay. Josh is the brother being like, I'm so.
Josh is okay.
Yeah, Josh is happy. Don't worry. Josh is
gonna die in this game.
Josh is up there. Josh
looking bad for you. Gotta be honest.
Josh is up there thinking.
At that point, I would be like, don't send me a walkie-talkie. Send me a gun so I can fucking kill myself.
Josh is up there being like, thank God that I went second.
Josh is like, we flipped a coin on who would go first.
Like, I always thought your wife was hot. Now I know.
So
she's fair game. You're dead, dude.
She's fair game.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna get the fuck out of this game.
I'm gonna get in that birth canal, John. You don't even know.
He just starts going down deeper.
Yeah.
This is one of those scenarios where I might lose my mind enough stuck in this situation to be like, I have to go deeper. Like when I take too many mushrooms and I'm like, I should eat more to try to get out of this.
At this point in the rescue process, when they finally get the radio to him and they have this pulley system rigged to try and start pulling him out, he's been stuck upside down in this cave for 19 hours.
Fuck that. Kill me. Just kill me.
Yeah.
John, start trying to lose some weight. try to do yogic breathing exercises to lose weight in the cave.
I just picture him like sliding down like it's like he's in the intestines of some beast. Like it just unconscious, just like
slowly losing his mind. So when he gets on the radio, though, like this is kind of funny but kind of heartbreaking at the same time. When he finally gets on the radio and they're like trying to assess,
he
like,
farts
are
really
you? He
loud.
farts really loud. Yeah. And the first guy, the guy who's helping
That's
him,
fighting spirit.
the guy who's like rigging the pulley system to pull him out is like, oh, dude, I need to come up for air. This is too much. I'll be back in a couple hours.
Leave him. Leave him. He's dead meat. He's a monster.
So when John gets on the radio, they're talking to him. They're assessing his mental state. The exact quote he gives is, "It sucks. I'm upside down. I can't believe I'm upside down. My legs are killing me." Is the exact quote.
They're literally killing him.
Because like his lower half
legs
is
are sliding into his body, like through
his lower half is literally crushing him. Gravity is
Yeah.
like literally forcing his lower half into his lungs. It's getting hard to breathe.
Oh my
And
god.
all the blood is pooling like in his head, behind his eyes. It fucking. I have no doubt it fucking sucks. So they get this. Their thinking is they have this pulley system rigged. The guy who's closest to him is gonna he's made like a lasso out of a stretchy rope, and he's gonna kind of lower it down, hook it around his John's knees, and then say, John, bend your knees a little bit, so that way the lasso will sort of hook him, and they'll be able to pull him up like it's almost like the lasso is like a reverse fish hook kind of deal. So they start to pull him up, and they're making pretty good progress. Again, this is almost an entire day that John has been stuck upside down in this cave, and they are able to move him. But they have to go slowly, because if they go too fast, they risk a pulley breaking and then him falling down even more. They risk if they go too fast, there's a chance that he could slip out of this rope and hurt himself. So they're only able to go like a couple inches every 5-10 minutes or so. It's a very slow process, but they're thinking, okay, so we only need to get him to a part of the cave where we can turn him around, and then we can we'll have the guy who was down there closest to him was also a doctor, so he would be able to assess him and okay, we're gonna wait until you're in a good enough state that we can get you out, or if you're not, we're gonna have to figure out a way. Maybe we'll hook a rope under your arms and pull you up that way. We'll figure something out to get you out of here. So everything seems to be going well, and then they've raised him up a little bit.
It's from bad to worse. So.
And then it gets from bad to worse. They've raised him up a little bit. They've raised him up almost to the point where the guy who's closest to him would be able to grab onto his legs and pull him up onto a ledge where John would be able to turn himself around, and they could reassess and then see what the next best way to get him out is, when all of a sudden there's a bunch of yelling from further up in the cave, and then you hear the sound of rocks, ping ping, rocks,
no.
Yeah.
No.
And then the not big rocks, just a lot of pebbles bouncing, and then all of a sudden the first responder who's closest to John feels something really heavy bash the side of his head, and he goes unconscious.
Holy shit!
Yeah. When the guy closest to John wakes up, he realizes what happened was the pulley system had become compromised again, because it's mostly clay soil. The whole system started to come loose, and pulleys broke out, and rocks were tumbling, making the whole thing crumble apart. And what knocked him out was one of these pulleys striking him in the side of the head.
Oh shit!
On its way down.
Just for people who are listening to this on Spotify,
Jake is cringing so hard.
Basically, Rob and I are just not saying too much because our jaws are dropping.
Our jaws keep dropping. Our eyes keep bulging out of our fucking skulls. This shit's
pulling my hair. I'm
Yeah.
this is all genuine. I am very stressed out right now.
So
check out the YouTube.
Again, do not send me a walkie-talkie. Send me a
Send
gun.
me a gun.
Just send me a gun to end it. Like,
So-
leave my body.
It's not like this. It's not like the first responder guy's out for hours. He's like knocked unconscious and then kind of comes out of it. But when he realizes what happens, or what happened, his first thought is obviously like, oh my god, what happened to John? So he looks back down into the cave where John was, and a bunch of this like pulley system and a bunch of rocks have like settled now on top of John. And
Yikes.
like you can still see him. You can still see his
Oh.
legs coming out, and he's like, "John, are you okay? Can you hear me?" No response.
Oh no.
So they have to.
Fuck.
But this guy,
He fell back down, right?
he fell back down, and now there's more like equipment
Oh,
and rocks and shit
mother
on top of him. Yeah.
Damn.
And now to be compounded with the fact that the guy who is closest to him is now most likely concussed and bleeding from his head. They have to get him out of there and get someone else to come down
Oh
and
my
take
We gotta
his
find
place.
another tiny doctor.
Yeah. so they do. Another like 2-3 hours pass before this other guy is able to like get down.
We gotta get the first guy
And,
unstuck, and then
yeah.
we gotta get another guy stuck in there to save him.
the doctor, the second doctor comes down, and obviously he can't get close to like fully assess what's up with John, but John is unresponsive at this point, and he is able to like kind of grab John's ankle, and he tries to get a pulse and doesn't get anything. John
Oh,
like
damn.
yeah. So what they think happened is that obviously like the trauma of all this shit falling on him and the shock of like and then suddenly falling into the cave, they think that he probably hit his head a lot on the way down, and that's what killed him. So yeah, they have to then come back
God
out
damn.
and tell
EMT has been releasing to this guy's brain for
Yeah.
like 8 hours at this
Yeah.
point. He's
Thought
like,
he was.
he's well beyond Shangri-La. He's in heaven right now, like saying hello to his loved ones.
So that was one. The one theory was a lot of head trauma. The other theory is that he suffered a heart attack from the sudden drop and then the pin in between the rocks. Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
we don't have an exact cause of death because we can't get to the body, because the medical guy tried to get closer and then realized, well, I can get closer to get an official diagnosis, but then I'm gonna get stuck and have to yell
Then
the
I'm gonna
diagnosis
die, and it's just a
back
chain
up,
of dead
yeah.
people.
Fuck. I'm looking up
So-
the third theory as to how he died. It was a bear
It was
trap.
a Wendigo, yeah. It was bear
Yeah.
trap.
There was a Wendigo bear trap at the very
Yeah.
end.
It was
Um,
coming from where he was falling to, so it was coming up to him.
So they
Wendigos have been slipping through the cave all night, just like, this is easy for us.
Like we're skinny and thin.
It's designed for us. This is why
This
humans
is
shouldn't
Wendigo
go.
Paradise, baby.
Yeah.
so the rescue team has to now come out and say it's a lost cause. He's dead. And it's too dangerous to get it. That's the other thing that sucks too, is it's too dangerous to try and get his body out. There's nothing we
That's
can
what
do.
that's what I've been thinking since the
Yeah.
beginning of this, where it's like, how, I understand the idea where it's like, we're gonna try every effort to get this guy out, but where do you draw the line of human life where it's like,
Yeah.
well, how many people do we risk to get this
Right.
one guy who
Yeah.
fucked up the directions out of the cave?
And also again like now, like, it's for sure that he is dead, like that we cannot save his life. And now
I'm the
it's
first responder
now-
hitting on the
yeah.
pregnant wife.
yeah, and now the question is,
It's
well,
open season.
I love
Oh,
kids.
No,
And now-
it's between the EMTs and his brother. They're just trying to mac on his wife.
exactly. But
It's
now,
fucked.
but then they're out, and they've explained this to him, and like you said, Rob, like all this effort goes in to try and save a single life. But now the problem is, well, is his body even worth saving, or is even that too dangerous to try and get a corpse out of this cave?
When he's a skeleton, it'll be way easier.
It'll
to
be
get
much
out.
easier when he's a skeleton.
He'll just slide out like nothing.
So in the days that follow, the guy who owns the cave is obviously fucking shocked, like, and also probably
God,
like,
the cave did that?
the cave did that. I thought it had claimed enough Boy Scouts over the years.
Oh, I
just
raised
imagining-
that cave well.
I'm imagining, like, Wile E. Coyote, like, smoking a cigarette, being like, am I gonna get in trouble for turning the sign in the cave the other way?
yeah.
Like,
It's funny because the guy who owns the cave.
It's not funny.
Well, no,
just for the
it is funny that you make the Wile E. Coyote comparison because the guy's the first
he
thing
plays a huge part in the story.
the first thing that the guy when they're like, so what do we want to do about the fact that because this guy's body is down there, how do we want to handle this? It's funny you mentioned Wile E. Coyote because the guy who owns the cave is so shook by this, he doesn't want anyone to go down there anymore. He says, let's just load it up with dynamite and collapse the whole cave.
Yes! Yes! That's what I was thinking. Like, at what point do you just go, fuck it, this is a grave, and fucking cave in the whole thing?
So they don't dynamite it, but what they do is they do go around to both the two entrances, and they fill them up with concrete, and they put a plaque for John on either side as like a tomb, like this is his like memorial.
Holy fuck.
So now like
a whole cave. Most people only get 6 feet in a box.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is where again I kind of find
John,
this a little.
John is dead, right? Like John is dead. Okay.
And like right after they.
Just wait.
Yeah. No. And it's
things are about to get way worse for John.
They hooked up one of those. They hooked up one of those like 1800s like bells on the outside of the cave where he can ring it if he's able to, like, if he's still alive.
They're halfway through dumping the concrete,
and they hear
he's
a yell. Yo, wait!
Imagine leaving your home and being like, "Hey, honey, I'll be back in 12 hours after I navigate this fucking cave." You being pregnant isn't enough for me. I need a bigger thrill.
Exactly. So this is like
it's kind of your thing, honey. I have to find my thing.
We're winding down, and again, this is truly gonna get from bad to worse. But I find this a little funny. But again, reading right off the Wikipedia, the closure of the cave
could not get worse. This thing could not get worse.
Oh, it could. It can and it will. Not in like the.
This is as bad as it gets. Like,
you say that every single time. Okay, well, what is truly worse? This
is
or
worse
the
than the fisherman that died by balloon in in Ohio or wherever the fuck.
What is it? Yeah, Cleveland.
Cincinnati,
Cleveland.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
This is worse than being a fisherman and dying by a balloon.
But is this worse than the Goiânia incident, or is?
Yes.
What, Halifax explosion?
Yes. Yes. At least the Halifax explosion was like,
Instant.
I'm gonna send this final message and be dead. Like this is 20 plus hours in this cave
of hope, and then nope. But
being like they hooked up this intricate pulley system. They navigated the bear traps.
So, but no, I think this does get worse. But
we used the bear traps to set up the pulley.
Yeah, that was our problem. The bear traps cut the ropes at the last second.
Again, the owner of the cave being like, I shouldn't have put that last bear trap in there. I knew it was too much, I still did it.
That stalactite shouldn't have formed.
Again, reading right off the wiki, the closure of the cave was opposed by some members of the spelunking community. Like, the people wanted this cave to stay open. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Can you
People
imagine?
were like, get them and revive them.
They're like,
I had my first kiss in this cave. How dare you?
How dare you? Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't, like, imagine a bunch of, like, spelunking Karens being upset that their cave
exactly.
Facebook community.
I would haunt every person who wants to keep the cave open.
Facebook community groups petitioned to save the cave but failed. Prior to Jones' death, cavers had cut their way through the gated entrance but remarked that they don't think they can breach the new closure or if the cave even exists. So they did explode. They put dynamite at the entrance to where John went down the wrong way. They closed off that part to start, and then they were like, well, no, it's not worth it. Let's shut the whole thing down. So I missed that part. Sorry. But
like maybe we could just close off this one section, and they made the cave even more dangerous. And they're like, shit, okay.
Well, because now there's the added bonus of like you may encounter a ghost on your cave dive. And people.
It's like one of those ghost hotels.
This is what I meant when it does get worse, because this to me is truly deplorable. Again, this happened in 2009. On April 4th, 2018, the plaque that was engraved to Jones was reported to have been vandalized. Fuck.
Oh
you.
my god.
Yeah,
Whoa.
fuck
These
whoever
people
did
are
that.
just like, this
Yeah.
guy was a bad cave diver. He just like couldn't hack it.
Was the
There's a
gaming
bunch of
community.
There's a bunch of people who are like, I can navigate past his body. It's so I'm
It's
so
so
skilled
easy.
that
I can pull this off. Yeah, no, it's fucking stupid. And that's the one last thing to note is that
Geomancers were so pissed off. They were like, I could get through that if
Yeah.
I used
Just-
the right spell.
just a bunch of cave divers showing up being like, let me speak to your manager, and it's
Let me
like,
speak
all right,
to your manager.
I can't even.
The one last thing to mention about the story is that there is a movie that is loosely based on the event called The Last Descent, and it's like a heavily romanticized thing. There's a lot of like the whole in 127 hours where he has the hallucinations of his future child and all that. There's a lot of that shit in it. It's a lot of like, oh my, there's like
just
shit
just
like
make
that.
character fall in love with the cave in
He
that.
fucks the cave and it ends. Yeah, it's funny that because we joked about him finding his like his family down at the bottom, being like, "We're waiting for you," but apparently that I'm just again reading the movie's Wikipedia. That is apparently part of the hallucinations is that he sees his family and future child down at the bottom of the cave.
This is
And
bad.
that's what welcomes him into the afterlife is the spirit of his unborn son being like, it's okay, Dad, you can go, it's okay, you fought hard, like, and that's is like so insensitive to me. It's so,
Mom's got the first
Yeah.
responders and
Yeah.
Josh. Like you
Yeah.
can go.
you can go. Mom's got Josh. Uncle Josh will take good care of me, Dad.
I always liked Uncle Josh better.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is happening here?
I'm
Scooby
gonna
Doo shows up too. Just like in 127 hours.
just to give you guys like I'm not sure how many of these are actual pictures of the cave again because it's been shut down for over a decade, but I'll drop an image of what is approximately what Josh was stuck into the forum. Slightly tighter than that.
Oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
Or what John was stuck in, my bad.
Again,
Yeah.
127 hours too heavy. Like this is not. This is something I just wouldn't
Yeah.
be involved in as a human being.
And that's the
man.
story of the Nutty Putty cave. And
Wow.
rest in peace, John Edward Jones.
Yeah, rest in peace.
His name is my name too.
His name is. You're a piece of shit. You're a fucking piece of shit for that.
Wow. I mean, that was good until you just did that.
I listen.
This is
I
where
again.
this is
this
where
is
I
a-
admit to being the one who vandalized the tombstone.
No!
No.
I set the bear trap.
I
to
set
kill
the
John.
bear traps
Oh
that broke the
Who's
police.
my
system.
friend?
My friend, no.
For real, like this is just one of those things where it's like people do dumb shit, and I
Yeah.
feel bad only for the woman who is a single mother raising this child. This guy fucking sucks, dude. You got a kid on the way, and if I had a kid on the way, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna sit in this chair on all my free time as safe as possible.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do.
I'm gonna eat
I would-
healthy. I'm gonna quit smoking. I'm gonna stop
Yeah,
drinking.
yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
this
live
guy
as
is
long
like-
as possible.
And I guess I don't want to take the other cave diver's side who are trying to reopen the cave, but it's like, how do you make the wrong turn like that? Like how do you?
I don't know. Like, cause it is a fork in the cave. Again, anyone who's looking at the spot or listening
Oh,
to
it's a
Spotify,
50-50 chance we make
Exactly,
it
yeah.
out. You know, like
but either,
fuck
but
you.
yeah, you would think that I'm sure there was some sort of signage, and he either missed it or he was like so confident that he just blew right past it and didn't think about it. I don't know what was going through his head, but yeah,
blood
blood
was
a
going
lot of
through his
blood.
head.
I'm
I-
already
I-
blind.
you
before
will
I was
not-
Stuck.
You will not catch me in this kind of situation. You'll catch me dying to like a mall shooter or something. Like you will not.
Yeah,
You
you'll
will not
me
catch me-
dying to like 4 or 5 Big Macs.
Yeah, exactly. You'll catch me in a hospital with doctors being like, thin doctors being like, yeah, he shouldn't have been eating McDonald's every week. But you will not catch me dying in a cave where it's like, oh, if he was just an inch thinner, like, fuck off. I almost can't feel bad for this guy because of you put yourself here.
I'll tell you, since we've only been going for about an hour.
Hey, John's wife, I know you're a listener. Fuck John.
Yeah, that kid is like, I'm trying to do the math. If that was in 2009, and we're assuming that she was...
That kid's, what, 12, 13 years
12,
old?
13, something by now, yeah. Hopefully
he's old enough to listen to the podcast.
He's old enough to pick up cave diving like his dad.
Yo, John's kid, make sure you rate us 5 stars on Spotify.
Give us 5 stars, John's kid.
Give us 5 stars.
We're sorry we called your dad a piece of shit, but
no, we're not.
Well, he abandoned you.
He abandoned you. Yeah, for real.
I
would have been there. I would have been there giving prenatal vitamins to your mom, but he was off in some fucking cave.
Would have made sure she had Pedialyte.
Is this your audition to be this kid's dad now? Like,
yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. I got nothing going for me. So
I got nothing. Yeah, exactly. I've got nothing to live for. I'll raise this fucking kid. Be like, you stay out of fucking caves, okay? You go explore the ocean like James Cameron.
I'll tell you something else that we like to explore, though, since we have a little bit of time left.
Oh, no. Let's wrap it up.
The Yahoo Answers segment. Okay, fine. Yahoo Answers next time. We'll do that.
I have to say, I can't do Yahoo Answers after that.
No. It was great, though. I really enjoyed that story. It made me,
feel bad for John. I feel bad for Josh.
I liked that, though. I don't know why. I guess I'm fucked up, but that was interesting.
It's a compelling story. I might watch that movie and report back and see if it was actually good and not just...
Oh, no.
That in the movie The Descent, like, the same thing happens at the end. There's, like, she has a hallucination of seeing her, like, daughter...
Yeah.
At her birthday. So that's what happens at the bottom of a cave. Just have a hallucination.
Even if you don't have a kid on the way, you just see your fucking future child. Like,
you die.
God, that shit sucks, dude. For real, that shit sucks. Super hardcore.
But what doesn't suck is our plugs that we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
What do you got, Jacob?
Watch this podcast, all the same places you can listen to this. Check us out on YouTube as well as Spotify if you listen on Spotify regularly, and check us out on Spotify if you check us out on YouTube regularly.
Yep. And make sure you follow the Instagram, rate us 5 stars on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube.
Jake has been doing a masterful job of running. We're almost at 1,000 followers.
Yeah, we're getting close there. State Representative Mike Smith is our #1 follower, #1 listener. We love you, Mike Smith, and
disagree with that. I don't like him.
Yeah, and so I like to think that State Representative Mike Smith is actually just Joe Rogan in a mask.
Yeah.
But yeah, and as per always, tell your friends about us. If you listen to this episode or any other episode and you thought it was really funny, or you just like the content we put out, just let one of your friends know that we are doing a podcast and doing a thing, and whether they like us or not, let us know, or let them know, and let everybody know. Tell everybody. You know what? We should start asking people to put our name on their cars. Like, I live in Philly, and a lot of people, I see a lot of cars with, like, podcast logos on their cars, and I'm like, shit, they probably don't have as many listeners as us, and we're not even doing that. So please tell your friends about us. Tell anybody you care about.
We'll make Redbubble stickers of, like, melted sticks of butter with, like, our names, like, drawn into them.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Stay indoors.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah, and remember, stay indoors and never go spelunking.
Yeah, don't go in that cave.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Night. Bye.
Yazoo! Thought that was a great app.